I get up here and start talking, I just keep going and keep going and keep going. But we're gonna split it up a little today. I'm gonna talk for a while, and then Kathy Nunemaker is going to come up and do a reading, and then Leah is going to come up and finish us out. So you'll get to hear lots of people today, lots of people. So just stay tuned in. But first, I have a few Easter-related questions. So, what is the Easter Bunny's favorite kind of music? Hip-hop, yes, definitely. And where does the Easter Bunny go when he needs a new tail? To a retail store? And what do you call rabbits that have had to march in a long, sweltering Easter parade?
Tired.
Hot cross bunnies. Okay, this is the last one. What happened when the Easter Bunny met the love of his life? They lived happily ever after. Okay. In Ecclesiastes, in the Hebrew Bible, it says, "To everything there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven." And here we are at Easter time. And this is a time of letting go of winter, letting go of all that no longer serves us. It's a time for celebrating the new life and new growth. I mean, don't you just love the way the trees are just starting to get that green mist and the leaves are starting to come out? It's absolutely beautiful. It's a time for celebrating what we have as expressions of the divine, that we have the choice. We get to make choices about our life. We get to make choices about what we'll hang on to, choices about what we will let go. And that, my dear ones, is amazing. Now, we appreciate springtime now, right? We're really glad. But we've got our heated homes. We can go to the grocery store and get fresh produce. You know, we can, many of us have handy little machines so that we can get a hot beverage just by pushing a button or flipping a switch, you know, get a cup of coffee. But can you imagine how the people who live in cold places, who have not had these conveniences, can you imagine how they welcomed spring? I mean, time to really get ready for spring, and I am sure that they just sucked it up wonderfully. Celebrations of spring, the origins of Easter are, of course, ancient. And most of the symbols that we have, most of the traditions that we have around Easter actually come from paganism. Okay, so many cultures, of course, viewed eggs as a symbol of life. And painting eggs was a custom with the Druids and with Eastern European civilizations. I mean, that was something they did in the springtime. And of course, the rabbit, the enthusiastic rabbit, has always been a symbol of enthusiastic fertility. But the rabbit or hare, in addition to being a symbol of fertility, is also a symbol of the moon. Because the moon is really an important part of Easter. It's how we determine when Easter is. I mean, you wouldn't think that a whole Christian holiday would be based on the first Sunday after the first full moon, after the spring equinox. But that's the way it is. And so it doesn't end up on the same day every year, and it doesn't end up on the same time as Passover does either. So we've got these symbols, and There's another really, really important symbol that we have come to associate with Easter, most of us anyway, that didn't come from the pagans, and that would be chocolate. I mean,
that's because they ate.
Why do you take the chocolate? Dark chocolate.
There we go.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. I don't know what happened here. So, chocolate. Yeah. And chocolate, we think of it as just something that's tasty and fun, but it can be a sweet, sweet, sweet reminder of all that is here for us, all that Spirit has provided, all that we can lean into and open up to, filled with divine possibilities. Okay. Ostara, or Eostra, is the ancient goddess for whom Easter is named. She was known as a fertility goddess with a passion for life. And she had as her cohort a magical rabbit. Her companion was this magical rabbit who joined her in bringing plants back to life that seemed to be dead. Because, at the end of winter, they seemed to be dead. And yet this rabbit helped her bring these plants back to life and also helped distribute and share the magical, magical eggs that would bestow fecundity upon the earth, that would make everything open up and grow. The theme of rebirth and renewal in the spring, I think it goes back as far as anybody ever told stories, as anybody ever made up stories. They would want to make up stories about springtime and how wonderful it is when things are renewed and reborn. And the theme of death and resurrection is one that has been around for thousands and thousands of years. And it was a popular theme for followers of teachers who they deemed saviors. It was a popular theme for them to share. Jesus wasn't the first one, of course, that had this theme of resurrection and then coming back to life 3 days later. In fact, his story was almost exactly the same as Mithras, who was born at the winter solstice, resurrected in springtime, and Mithras was one who led people into the light at their time of death. And so the stories are very much the same. Now, it doesn't really matter, I think, whether what actually happened, whether the story actually happened the way we've been taught it. It doesn't actually matter whether or not any particular person died in any particular way and was resurrected. But what matters is that these are stories that have been told over and over and over and over. And they have gained a lot of power. And they have something to do with our lives now. If they didn't have anything to do with our lives now, we wouldn't be talking about them. We wouldn't be celebrating them in this way. Spring is a time for releasing what binds us and absolutely opening to the newness, the new life, the new opportunities, the new love that is here for us. Now, though here in Colorado, we'll probably still see some snow, winter is past, and so it is. Many of us have been inside more than we wanted to be. And this is a time where we can really pretty soon put our heavy coats and heavy sweaters in the back of the closet. We can dust off our flip-flops. We can keep the top down on the convertible. I mean, how sweet is that? You know, how sweet is that? And like the seeds that have been in the ground just waiting for the warmth of the sun, waiting for the days to get longer, waiting to sprout at the perfect time. We have done that as well, and now is our time. Now is our time to let go of what no longer serves us and to absolutely step into whatever newness is calling us. So what has been calling you? What is waiting in you to be brought into new life? Is it a new desire for self-care? A new desire to go out and enjoy the world more? Now, Earth Day is tomorrow, but maybe your desire is to live Earth Day, to be so aware and caring of the earth, not only on Earth Day, but every day. What an idea that is. Or maybe you've celebrated Passover, which was commemorating the freedom of the Jewish people from slavery. Maybe you've looked at what has enslaved you. Maybe you have looked once again at what you are ready to be freed into. It's an absolutely amazing thing. And no matter what our beliefs, springtime is just the most wonderful, wonderful time to know that we start anew, to know that we absolutely get to move forward, letting go of what's no longer needed, moving forward into our magnificence and our wonder. Easter is a reminder that even if something in our life feels like it has died, there is new life, always new life, waiting to live itself in, through, and as each of us, leading us to our most incredible lives. Y'all up for your most incredible life? Okay. Well, I'm going to close my part of this presentation with a question for you to contemplate. Oh, well, no. Yes, thank you. What would you be willing to release if you knew that something extraordinary was trying to express itself through you? What would you be willing to release if you knew that something extraordinary was trying to express through you? So we're going to take just a moment of silence to contemplate that, and then Kathy's going to have a reading for us. Shh.
There we go. This is a poem by Ernest Holmes, and I just discovered it, and it's amazing for letting go. But it helps if I don't have these on. She let go. Without a thought or a word, she let go. She let go of the fear. She let go of the judgments. She let go of the confluence of opinions swarming around her head. She let go of the committee of indecision within her. She let go of all the right reasons. Wholly and complete, without hesitation or worry, she just let go. She didn't ask anyone for advice. She didn't read a book on how to let go. She didn't search the scriptures. She just let go. She let go of all the memories that held her back. She let go of all the anxiety that kept her from moving forward. She let go of the planning and all the calculations about how to do it just right. She didn't promise to let go. She didn't journal about it. She didn't write the projected date in her daytimer. She made no public announcement and put no ad in the paper. She didn't check the weather report or read her daily horoscope. She just let go. She didn't analyze whether she should let go. She didn't call her friends to discuss the matter. She didn't do a 5-step spiritual mind treatment. She didn't call the prayer line. She didn't utter one word. She just let go. No one was around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations. No one thanked her or praised her. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, she just let go. There was no effort. There was no struggle. It wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was what it was, and it is just that. In the space of letting go, she let it all be. A small smile came over her face, a light breeze blew through her, and the sun and the moon shone forevermore.
So Christians all over the planet are celebrating Easter today. And Easter is all about the resurrection of Jesus. In our teaching, we look at it more than just an event. We look at the deeper meaning underneath that and what that means for each of us, what that means about our life. Yeah. You know, and when Jesus walked out of the tomb, he walked out of the darkness. And he shed those burial cloths, and he walked into the light. What a beautiful metaphor for our life. Yeah. So the resurrection of Jesus is about awakening. It's about rising above our consciousness, rising above, expanding our consciousness, rising above the conditions of our life, expanding who we are. That is what the resurrection is about. And so he walked out, he moved that stone, and walked straight towards the light. And that is possible for each one of us. Each one of us have the opportunity to shed, to release, as Jyoti was asking you so beautifully in her question, and put so beautifully in Ernest Holmes' poem. What do we want to release? What do we need to shed in our life? All of us have something. All of us have at least one thing, maybe more, but at least one thing that we are ready to let go of. We're ready to just take off those binding claws. You know, back then they were all buried that way. They were wrapped with these burial claws, tight, constricted. So if you imagine that as a metaphor for your own life, what is keeping you binded? What is holding you so tight that you are unable to break free of? What is that thing? And every time we let go, every time we release something, we awaken even more. A little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. Each time we let something go, we release it. Every time we move into forgiveness, that powerful energy of forgiveness, we are releasing, we are letting go of those binding claws. And for those of you that have experienced the power of forgiveness, it almost creates this floaty feeling. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? When you really release, it's like, whoa. It's like this floaty, made up word here, but floaty feeling. Yes, right? That's the only way to describe it. And what that's happening is there's a rise of our consciousness. It's rising. And we're letting go of the heaviness of that energy, that burden, or whatever it is we're hanging on to. We're releasing it. We're letting it go, and we're rising up. Yeah. And so whenever we're faced with something challenging in our life, that means that there is a birth that's wanting to take place within us. Yes? Just like we've been talking about the springtime, this bursting forth, the beautiful trees and the flowers, we're seeing it all around us. And whenever we are faced with something challenging, it just means that something's wanting to be born. Something's wanting to burst forth and come alive within us. And so it's having faith that that is so. We may not be able to see it yet. We're feeling the challenge. We're in the heartache, the heartbreak, the challenge of whatever that is. But if we can have faith that something is trying to come forth, something is wanting to just open us. So Jyoti gave you a moment to think through what it is in your own life that you'd like to shed or release. And so bringing that to mind, picking one thing, doesn't have to be the biggest thing, but what is something that you are ready to let go of? And trusting that renewal, that birth that is taking place in your life as a result of letting that go. Stripping off those burial claws, stripping off those binding claws, letting it go. Releasing it. So that what is ready to come bursting forth through you is possible. You were all given something that looks like this. So I ask you now to pick it up and hold it in your hands. This cloth represents that thing in your life that is binding you. Looking down at the knot. That knot represents that. That whatever aspect of you, whatever part of your life that you would like to let go, whatever part of you that you would like to release and shed. So bringing that to mind and bringing forth to you and to your heart that intention. Taking a breath. Yes, I am ready. I am ready to let this go. I am ready to strip off this binding cloth. I'm ready to release it and be free of this. And when you're ready, untie that knot. Untie that knot, and that represents that release. You are letting it go. You are saying yes. You are trusting what is bursting forth through you, within you. Letting it go. Allowing it to be. And just honoring this within yourself. This simple ritual and what it represents, that release, that letting go. And so let's say our affirmation together. I release that which binds me and step fully into life with all that I am. Let's say it again. I release that which binds me and step fully into life with all that I am. And so I invite you in the coming week as you go out and see the blooming of the flowers and the blossoming of the trees, Every time you see that, it's a nice, a beautiful reminder of what is bursting forth through you. What is wanting to be born as you have let go of that which no longer serves? Let's move into prayer. Practitioners, please stand in high consciousness. And so we just breathe in the beauty and the renewal of life. That joy that it fills our being, that fills our heart. We trust and know that there is something beautiful that is being born within each of us. Because whenever there is a death, there is always a birth. And so as we let go of that which no longer serves us, we move into this powerful, amazing, extraordinary thing called life. And as we go out into the world and we see the colors bursting forth, we are reminded that that is our life. And we take great joy in that and appreciate and feel gratitude for all that is coming alive within each of us. And so we give thanks for that. We give thanks for that reminder. We give thanks for the beauty that is who we are. That beautiful divine essence that is contained within each of us, that shines forth so brightly, so profoundly. And so we release this knowing it is done. We let this go. We allow it to be, and we trust and have faith in what is unfolding and what is coming forth within us. And with great gratitude and great thanksgiving, we ground this in together by saying, and so it is.